What is up, YouTube? And in today's video, we're going to talk about almost everything about Python. What is Python? How to learn Python? Should you learn Python? Is Python for you? What do you even do with Python? Is Python dangerous? What is Python? Oh wait, did I say it before? What am I even talking about? Let's get started. Alright, so in this video, the way I have arranged this video is I have multiple sections where I answer 4 or 5 basic questions. For example, what is Python? How to learn Python? Should you learn Python? Is Python for you? So if you want to watch a specific section, just jump through one of these times wherever you see it on the screen, I guess here, and watch that, whatever caters to you. So the first thing I want to talk about is what exactly is Python? So Python is basically a programming language. And forgive me if I'm oversimplifying things. I'll just explain it to you in a very layman's terms, okay? So there are two types of languages, interpreted languages and compiled languages. There may be more, I don't know about them. But anyway, Python is one of those interpreted languages. Compiled languages are those languages where the computer has to go through each line of the code and see that everything is correct, and then it runs the program. But for interpreted languages, it basically takes the lines of the code as it goes. So it'll look at one line, run it, look at the other line, run it, and look at the other line, run it. And this is the reason why Python is gaining a lot of popularity, because one, it has human readable code, it's super easy to program, and you don't need to take care about those complex things like memory management like you do in C. Yeah, don't look at C code unless you want to face instant death. So yeah, coming back to Python, it is super easy to learn, and a lot of people are trying to learn Python because they want to add something new to their portfolio. Python allows you to do stuff that most other languages you'll have to write a lot of lines of code to do. And this is why it's gaining a lot of popularity lately. And Python also saves time. So if you have something on your mind and you really want to code it down and see how it works, Python is your way to go. So let me give you a little bit of detail on each of these things, what exactly you can do in Python. So web development, you can have Flask or Django. So basically, there are libraries for literally everything in Python. You will just think of it, and then you will just search for it on the internet, and bam, a library will pop up. People have already built it because one, Python is open source, so there are so many people working on it and creating libraries. So yeah, creating websites in Flask, Django, you can do that. Data science, there are libraries like NumPy, pandas that help you manage your data and do data analytics. There are libraries like TensorFlow, scikit-learn that allow you to run already trained machine learning models, logistic regressions, or linear regression models on your data. And then there are also libraries like tkinter. I don't know how you say that, but I just call it tkinter. That allows you to make graphical user interface applications in Windows. So a lot of things that you can do in Python. Oh, scrapers is one of the other thing that you can do. So you can build bots. I know there's a library called Scrapy, and then that helps you scrape information different websites and store it on local computer to get analytics. And again, if you are going to hackathons, Python is a really good resource because then it allows for a fast development, fast production of your ideas into reality. So if you're a hacker, by hacker I mean a hackathon person, not hacker, then yes, do learn Python. And one more thing, definitely go check out the blog that I wrote with this video, because I also put some resources over there for you to check out that will help you learn Python. Okay, so why you should learn Python? Basically, you can do absolutely anything in Python. And when I say absolutely anything, I mean absolutely anything. Absolutely anything. What is it? What is it you can't do in Python? No, I can't think of anything you can't do in Python. Write down in comments what you think you can't do in Python, and I'll try to answer them how you can do them in Python. The other part where people use Python is the data science industry, which is full of people who know Python. You can do data analytics, machine learning, and data analysis, so many other things that you can do in Python. You can build bots that can do stuff for you, so many automations that you can do in Python. But one thing that you should know if you're interested in doing machine learning in Python, that knowing Python is not knowing machine learning. Okay, so I would suggest if you're just interested in learning Python because you think, oh, I'll be able to do machine learning, I don't think that's the right analogy. I think what you can do in Python is use machine learning that people already built, like the models that people already built before, and then use them on your own data. That you can do in Python easily with some libraries. But what you can't do is actually writing those models. Because for that, you need to know mathematics and theory, and then you need to study a lot of books on machine learning theory. And then Python only allows you to take that theory and implement it in a programming language. Because if you want to do this in C or C++, you're gonna have to write so much code. So Python is so much easier to work with. And there are also other things that you can do in Python. For example, even if you're not in a programming job and you're doing a job, for example, data entry jobs, or if you're like a consultant, it's still good to know Python because then you can probably do some automations using Python. It's always good to know Python. Okay, so coming to whether you should learn Python or not. To be honest, it really depends on what your situation is. So let's consider different scenarios. Scenario number one, you are a programmer already and you are doing a programming job. For example, you're either a Java developer or you are some sort of developer, web developer, and you somewhere heard about Python and you want to know what this language is. In this case, if you're one of these, if you're in this category, please, yes, definitely learn Python. You should 100% learn Python. It's a really good skill that you should have on your resume. A lot of employers are looking for this skill, and I think this will really enhance your career program. All right, scenario number two. So if you are very new to programming and you don't know any programming language at all, should you learn Python? I am not sure if you should learn Python. So it depends. So scenario number two, let's divide it into two more categories. One, do you want to build a programming career? Two, are you just learning programming for fun? So if you're one of the person who wants to learn Python and get a job out of it, if you want to learn Python and you want to go out in the job market and search and put on your resume, okay, I know Python, please hire me. That's not going to happen because most of the times Python developer is very rare. Like you will rarely see this job title Python developer, and most of the times you'll see that there's a job and Python is just a sub requirement in that job. So if you're doing job hunting, then I don't know if you should learn Python as your first programming language. What I would recommend though is try learning programming first in JavaScript because the reason I recommend JavaScript is because it's not as complex as C or C++, but it's also not as simple as Python. So you'll be introduced to basic programming concepts. It's really easy to follow along in JavaScript, or you can try Swift, which is for iOS programming. It's also a fairly good language to start programming with. But if you are very new to programming and you're looking to build a job out of a career in programming, then there's a different recommendation for you. I think I mentioned some things in my blog, so do read my blog, and I think I have more detail on what to do if you're very new to programming and you want to build a career out of it. And I'll probably make more videos about it too. But basically, what I would recommend is for you to follow programming paths or learning paths. You can find them on LinkedIn Learning. You can find them on Udemy. Also, don't pay too much money on Udemy. In fact, don't pay money at all to learn programming. There are so many free resources. And especially don't pay money to learn Python. It is a sin to pay money to learn Python. But again, if you don't know programming at all, then I think it's okay. It's only a sin for those people who know programming and then they still pay other people to teach them programming in Python. So please don't do that. So if you're new to programming, it's always better to take a guided approach. learn programming first. Python is just a tool, it's just a language, it's like any other language, like a human language, a mode of delivery. So I would recommend that you go and learn programming in JavaScript or Swift. And there are a lot of resources you can find them, and I also list some resources on the blog. Continuing to the second part, that you're just doing programming for fun. In this case, yes, please learn Python. Python is very good for you and for your health. So if you want to build side projects, or if you're just taking programming as a hobby, then yes, learning Python is a very good idea for you. And the other thing that I would also recommend you to do is go to a lot of hackathons. And I don't know if you know about hackathons, but they're very fun events, and I also have hackathons in my blog, so go check that out. But anyway, if you're doing it as a hobby, then it's a good idea to learn Python, and I think it'll give you a lot of chances to not only learn programming but also do some other tasks in like automate some your daily life tasks. I think that you can do with Python. The third scenario is if you are a university student and a non-CS major. So I know a CS or computer science or software engineering students, they probably already know programming. And if they don't know Python, I don't think it's very difficult for them. And at some point in their life, they're automatically just introduced to Python and they just take it up. So it's not really difficult for them. But if you're a non-CS or software engineering major, then should you learn Python? Of course, you should learn Python. It's a really good skill to have, especially if you don't know any other programming language. Python will help you a lot. It could be like basic scientific computing you can do in Python for your some of the non-technical courses. I personally have used Python a lot in some of my chemistry and calculus courses. It just makes life easier for you. So yes, definitely learn Python. And the other scenario would be if you are doing a job and it's a non-programming job, then should you learn Python? Of course, you should learn Python because then you can use Python to automate your tasks and do other random weird stuff that you can do in Python. But trust me, it's very fun to know Python. Now we come to the important part. How do you actually learn Python? Like I said before, if you know programming, please don't spend money anywhere to learn Python. Okay? But if you don't know programming, and you want to learn Python, then it's a good idea to get a guided approach on how programming works. So there are a lot of resources, right? And I list them in my blog, and you can go check them out. But some of my favorite ones are Dr. Angela Yu's courses on Udemy or London Applery. It's about $12 to $15 if you use coupons on Udemy. You know there are a lot of coupons on Udemy, but the way her courses work are that she gives a very detailed approach on programming. So if you're very new to programming, you'll learn how to code and how for loops work and how everything works, and you'll learn Python as well. And then I think in her courses she also has some machine learning aspect. So if you're into that, then yeah, check out Dr. Angela Yu's courses. The other resource is The Lazy Programmer. So this guy is super cool. He doesn't teach you Python exactly, but if you're really into machine learning and stuff, then his videos are really nice. I think his courses are also on Udemy, and he explains things very well. I personally found them better than other machine learning courses out there because he's going to teach you the theory. So if you're interested in the theory, like what goes on behind the scenes, that's what he's going to teach you. He's going to teach you how to build them from scratch. But if you just want to know how to use libraries to run machine learning models, that information you can find anywhere, and you don't even need to buy any courses. If you know programming, though, some of the really good resources are Tutorials Point and Geeks for Geeks. And all you need to do is just go through the Python syntax, and then you'll probably know 80% of Python. And that's basically all you need to know. But the best thing that helps all the time in learning Python is building projects. So you can either go to a lot of hackathons and build projects with team members, or you can build projects on your own. So try building websites, try building stuff out. Okay, don't be afraid to actually build and make mistakes. So if you make mistakes, it's all right. There are people on Stack Overflow to help you debug, and Stack Overflow is probably your main to go point whenever you're stuck. for somewhere, right? So these things are going to help you a lot. All right, guys, before you go, I just want to say that I have tons of more content coming up for technology, programming, coding, hackathons, University of Waterloo and Waterloo programs, bubble tea, cats, guitar, I don't know. But yeah, I have tons of more content coming up, so consider subscribing if you're into any of these. And I'm also thinking of doing some resume and cover letter videos that. So if you're into career videos, then do subscribe. And I guess I'll see you in my next video. Peace. All right, so why you should learn Python? There are a lot of reasons why you should learn Python. So basically, there are two kinds of people. One who know Python, and the other are uncivilized. I'm just joking.